Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Do a,
Morning.
Morning.
do a quick check-in and see who's off here. I have Emily A. House from the planning department.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's like I have Colleen Reynolds.
Yes, here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. Donan Yashro. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm a resident of Findlay Street. I live near Findlay and John.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I've got Chris Jark Hickson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, we're the design firm
Okay.
for Sam Adams.
All right, and then I have somebody with the screen name Bob CA.
Good morning. Hi, Bob Cacciola. I'm with Boston Beer Sam Adams.
Okay. And then I have a Scott Thornton.
Yep. Good morning, Scott Thornton, Boston Beer.
Okay, and Ryan Shanley.
Yep, this is Ryan. I'm with Sam Adams too.
All right, and if you intend to testify today, please have your camera on because I do have to swear you in. All right, I'll do a brief introduction. It's mostly for me, but also for you. This is the June 18th, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is Ashton Tucker. I'll be serving as your zoning hearing examiner for the city of Cincinnati and will preside over this hearing. Case before us today is ZH20250052. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. This hearing will proceed as follows. First, the applicant or any of the applicant's agents will first present the applicant's case. The public will then have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. Next, the zoning planning examiner that produced the staff report will be able to provide any testimony. If in the event that any party testifies or offers any argument in opposition to an application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony. After the applicant has been given an opportunity to do that, then he will have an opportunity to make a closing statement. They will have the final word. After all presentations have been made, I will close this hearing and decisions can be expected within 2 or 3 weeks. I may limit or exclude, I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask any questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with Zoom or anything technological, I will try to troubleshoot that on the fly. If not, if it's beyond my capabilities, I may continue or postpone this hearing at my discretion. All right, all persons providing testimony today must be sworn in now. So if you intend to do so, please make sure you are off mute and that your camera is on. Mr. Yashra, you are still on mute. All right. Thank you. If you could raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
do.
Yes.
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 Okay. All right, getting started. We'll start from the applicant side. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit out of order. Ms. A House, if you could kind of give me a Cliff Notes kind of version of what we're doing today.
Yes. The application before you is related to the change of use of the property to be used as outdoor storage, as a drop lot for trailers for the brewery in the vicinity. That requires 3 items of zoning relief. One is a conditional use to establish the outdoor storage use in the manufacturing general zoning district. And that is looking at, that it's appropriately located, designed, and configured to minimize adverse effects. The second element of zoning relief is a variance. They have proposed a fence height of 8 feet. It is compliant with the transparency requirements, but fence height is limited to 6 feet. And the third item of relief is a special exception from the buffer yard requirements. At the west side of the property, where it abuts a different zoning district, a buffer yard type A is required. This is 10 feet and a 6-foot screen fence. You can have a driveway in that buffer yard, but you can't have parking. So this is really related to the southwest corner of the property where they are proposing to store trailers. The driveway at the northwest portion is compliant with the buffer yard requirements, and it's also related to not having a screen fence and a solid fence on that western boundary of the property. So those are the zoning relief requested today.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go over at the applicant side. Who would like to lead on the applicant side?
That'd be me.
All right. What would you like me to know about your application?
Sure. Well, Sam Adams has been in the region and neighborhood for about 30 years, and we currently have a lot of our business off-site. And our goal that we've been working on for the past 3 years is try to bring this truck staging opportunity closer to the brewery. Back in November, we were able to purchase 3 parcels very close to the brewery. And we are here today requesting the use for conditional use for storage and so forth. This will clearly be a benefit to our operation. It will also clean up the area quite a bit. And it would probably be in my opinion, the opportunity to bring all our co-workers onto the single site versus having a multi-pronged operation. I've had an opportunity to meet with the community, the West End Community Council. I presented this to the board and got their approval. I then presented this project to the community itself, and I have a commitment letter from that community approving the project. I also have a couple of letters from our abutters, Nick Johnson from Bach Development, who's developing the tavern at the Lynn and Livingston, and the Port Authority. I have a letter from them as well, endorsing the project as well. So we feel we've done our due diligence within the community. As I mentioned, we've been in the community for many years, and as Nick Johnson told me, the brewery is the fabric of the community. So with that, we look forward to this hearing and moving forward.
All right. I'll just pick somebody next to go. We'll start with Chris Hickson. Excuse me, sir.
So we're a designer. I think we're trying to match some of, like the fencing, for example, matches what we've already been approved at the brewery itself. So there's some precedence there. Walking the site, I think it's going to be a lot cleaner. It's going to be, we'll have lighting, we'll have security. It'll be done in a manner that I think will look really good in that area. So I'm more here for technical support in case this is a technical question, but that's where we are.
Fair enough. All right, Ms. Reynolds?
Not much to add. Also here for support. We have been engaging with various city departments on this project overall. Really, as Bob said, this sort of, expands our footprint, but allows us to clean up the site and activate the site more safely, more cleanly. And so we're really excited about the development moving forward. And I've been engaging with multiple sort of parts of the city of Cincinnati. So if you have any questions about sort of what that looks like, happy to speak to those as well.
All right, Mr. Thornton?
Yeah, nothing else to add. Yeah, I'm here to really support Bob and Chris. They'll take the lead from the Boston Beer side. So I think they've summed up the project very well.
And Mr. Shanley?
Sorry, these buttons are in a different spot than I'm used to. I'm just here to help the Boston Beer team. That's it.
Fair enough. All right, we'll move on to comment from the public. Mr. Yashro? You live nearby?
What? Yeah, I live nearby. I don't really have any objections to the development. I was just wanting to understand what was actually going on. And also, well, I do have one concern, that's traffic in the area. Would this impede traffic at John and Findlay? Because when I hear tractor trailers, first thing comes to mind is traffic congestion. So that's my biggest issue here. I don't know if somebody can speak to that.
If the applicants would like to speak to that, sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to address that. These questions were asked during the community meeting that I was involved with. It's a great question. So the operation, to avoid congestion, we've designed a inbound. So you go into the lot off of Findlay, but you exit the lot off of Livingston to kind of wrap around the underside to avoid two-way traffic on Findlay itself. We did engage with an engineering firm to do a traffic study and gave them the report of what we'd like to do. And they didn't see any additional, because we're currently moving the same amount of trucks in and out of the brewery. We just happen to be moving them 7 miles off site. So the traffic won't increase. The difference is, instead of going 7 miles, we're going 1.5 blocks and back and forth versus going to the offsite, which is the same route that they would be taking. Does that address your questions?
Well, sort of. I understand what you're saying, but I'm more referring to the everyday traffic, the pedestrians, the travelers. Will the tractor trailers in any way be blocking traffic, basically?
No, I don't. I see what you're saying. Would we have multiples heading out at the same time, sort of thing? It's more of a kind of one-off where we would have our local driver jockey pick up a trailer, bring it to the brewery, drop it at the loading dock, and then kind of reverse the process, take it from the loading dock and bring it over to the lot itself. So more of an operational piece versus having a team of drivers coming and take 3 or 4 trailers at one time and then heading out on Findlay. That's not the
Right.
operation, so to speak. Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the way the operation would operate. In other words, kind of one-offs back and forth versus over the road truck drivers taking 4 or 5 at one time, therefore causing a traffic jam that you're referencing.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Understood.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Yashro?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move over to the planning department. Ms. A House, what would you like me to know about the planning department's thoughts here?
Yes, Wes Munzel's staff report really clearly summarizes in more detail our findings and our recommendation. We are recommending approval of all the relief requested. In terms of the conditional use, the applicant has noted, currently there are issues with dumping and the condition of the site, that the consistent use and monitoring will improve. The exit going on Livingston will help reduce adverse effects in terms of, lights or, towards the residential properties to the north. And Livingston is more industrial in character. So that site design helps to reduce the adverse effects. As the applicant noted, the trailers are already, in terms of traffic, moving through the area. They're just coming from a different location closer to the operations. But so overall, we found that the proposed outdoor storage design of the site is appropriately located, designed, and configured to minimize adverse effects. In terms of the fence height, we have found this is a substantial property right enjoyed by others in the vicinity, that a taller fence for an industrial use it is a property right enjoyed by others. Particularly, the applicant did receive similar approval in a 2020 case, ZH20205124, just to the east of this site. And then finally, in terms of the special exception for the buffer yard, the existing site configuration with the building that is set to the property line, really provides to the west, really provides that buffering. We don't see adverse effects, and that the site configuration on that west property line is really consistent with the intent of the code without meeting that 6-foot screen fence and 10 foot of unused space. And it will provide adequate buffering from the surrounding commercial uses. I didn't note this in the beginning, but the application has requested sort of a phased approval and construction process. The city, they have not finalized the vacation and sale of the right-of-way, which goes through the middle of the site. The city has authorized this application to include that right-of-way. And so, they've provided a timeline where they will start use and phase construction across the sites, pending the real estate transactions, which staff, finds consistent with the relief requested to start that and phasing construction. We did recommend one condition of approval, just speaking to that with the uncertainty of the real estate transaction not being approved. And that is that if the vacation or sale of the right-of-way or another form of permission is granted to get that use by January of 2026, that the applicant will provide an updated site plan so we can identify, exactly what parts of the site they're using and determine if it's a substantial change from the relief requested today in that final configuration based on how those real estate transactions go. If we would make a finding at that time that it is a substantial change from the relief granted based on the real estate transaction and how that moves forward, then we would take it to a new conditional use hearing.
All right. Okay. I will move on to any closing remarks. I will start with Mr. Yashral. Anything else you want to know before I give the applicants the last word?
No, nothing comes to mind.
Okay, thank you. All right. Like I said, the applicants will get the last word. I suppose we'll go ahead and I'm just going to throw it over to Bob. And if you have if anybody else has anything to say, you can chime in.
Team, anything from your side? Yay, nay?
I just want to say thank you for your time, and Emily, please pass along our thanks to Wes for his very thorough report as well. We know this has taken a lot of the city's time and energy to make sure we get this right. So we just really appreciate the city of Cincinnati for being a great partner to Boston Beer.
I did owe that. I appreciate your time this morning.
All right, so what will happen now is I'm going to take all of this under advisement and I will be issuing a decision likely within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Just be on the lookout for an email from me with that decision, okay?
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.